Hello folks, I'm here today with the Genesis G70 Shooting Brake. This is the 2-litre petrol model and it promises to be quite a lot of fun. Let's check it out. I feel like I should be far better dressed standing in front of this car because it's quite a looker. You've got this lovely sort of matte satin finish paint which is called Bond Silver. Really nice 18-inch alloys, and just check it out. It's a thing to behold. So driver's seat's in my normal driving position. I think I'm 5'9½", something like that. And I've got plenty of knee room, but it's not really much room to put your feet. There's also plenty of room for a child seat. You can see my young son's made a nice mess of the back of that one. Something my daughter particularly likes is that you've got heated seats in the back as well as the front. You've also got a USB charger down there so they can keep their devices charged up as you're going down the road. You've also got these handy seat pockets and a central armrest with a couple of cup holders. And visibility in the back's very, very good. It's just a narrow headrest here, so it's really good. Now the button for the boot in this car's in a slightly unusual place, but it's quite cool. It's there. As you can see, the boot's a good shape, but it's not the biggest. So that's my little camera bag there. And that's sort of the depth. You have got a false floor here where you've got space for your tyre inflation kit and a few little tools and things. I feel like that boot should have a bit more space than it's got. It's just not quite deep enough. I mean, this car really is laden with tech, and the quality of the interior is way beyond expectation in this car. Obviously we know it's a Hyundai deep down, but it's the premium brand from Hyundai. But they've really taken this very, very seriously and put together a really well sorted cabin. The only thing I would say is a bit fussy is the steering wheel. Quite a lot of controls going on the steering wheel, which is fine. You've got everything at your fingertips. No real issue with it, but there's maybe just a bit too much going on. Every dial, every knob, every switch has a great quality feeling to it. Everything's really tactile, really great quality. Now this car I'm in now has the upgraded Napa leather package, and it benefits from the nicer seats and everything. They're ventilated, they're heated, got a heated steering wheel. It's got everything you could ever really ask for in a car on this one. You've got these lovely diamond stitched door cards here. The quality of the leather on the seats is really top notch. If you compare this to the German rivals, and you might think 3 Series BMW, Mercedes C-Class, Audi A4, even go up a level and think BMW 5 Series, Mercedes E-Class, Audi A6, I don't think any of them have got a better cabin than this. And this is a Genesis. I think 10-15 years ago, would you have thought that a Korean brand might put out an interior to rival the top premium German brands? I wouldn't have. The only slight letdown in terms of interior quality is just the bottom here, just the door pockets. They're the same nasty plastic with sort of some ridges on the inside that were in the Audi A3 that I reviewed recently. And that was a massive disappointment, having come from quite a few Audis where, you know, everything was so nice. And also a car of this level, I would expect some nice either soft touch plastics in here, or maybe even felt lining inside the door bins, and you don't have it. You can see the quality of the reversing camera here. I mean, it's just so high res in the top down camera, and then this is really handy as well. When you go into reverse, it obviously shows you what's behind you, the side mirrors angled down slightly, but it also does, when you then edge forward, you get a camera view of what's directly in front of you. Another very cool feature on this car, which I've already gotten used to and it's proven to be very, very useful, is the fact that when you put the indicator on, obviously you've got your mirrors, but the dials actually display a very, very high res image from your wing mirror of your blind spot. So we're going to do it here. Left hand dial is now my blind spot. Obviously it seems like a bit of a gimmick, but it's brilliant. Also, when you reverse parking, just stick the indicator on and you've got that, and you can just guide yourself in with absolutely no danger of damaging your alloys. Not that I would ever damage my alloys whilst parking. Now, I've had quite a few admiring glances in this car, and every time I've parked it or gone back to it, somebody walking by has asked me about it. I think only once when I've taken this out did I get away scot-free. I've been asked, is it an Aston Martin? Is it a new kind of Bentley? The favourite question is, what is that? And you say, what do you think it is? and they'll usually say, well, I don't know, but I like it. I think because the logo is quite reminiscent of some other brands, people do confuse it for one of those, and it does look every bit the premium car. Right, we'll just take it out onto the open road here for a second. So this one's a 2-litre petrol engine. I'll throw some stats up on the screen because I'm not going to try and remember or recite those to you whilst driving, but it doesn't hang around, this car, and it delivers the power very nicely. And although this is a 2-litre 4-cylinder petrol, it feels every bit like a 6-cylinder. So it's got an 8-speed torque converter automatic gearbox. I think it's great. I've heard a couple of things about it. It's a little bit sluggish and a bit soft and all the rest of it. I don't find that at all. In the main, I try and avoid car reviews that other people have given before I conduct my review, because I think I'll give a more honest and unbiased opinion if I'm not influenced by anything I've read. Unfortunately, I'd already read quite a lot about these before I knew that I'd be given one to review. And yeah, one of the things was the gearbox is maybe a little bit pedestrian. I honestly don't find that at all. I've had tons of automatic gearboxes in my life. This is a really, really nice one. The great thing about this car is it can be a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. If you just want to sit and cruise in comfort, it will do that all day long. It's a really comfortable ride, and you can just soak up the miles in it. If you want to drive it a bit aggressively, it's a very, very competent chassis. It's rear-wheel drive. It delivers the power exactly how you want it to. I really enjoy driving this car. So what are the negatives with this? Well, although they start about 40 grand, this one's 50. It's got plenty of options on it, and it's about 50 grand. Again, I'll throw the numbers up on the screen for you. That's an expensive car, very expensive car. And then the other side of that is this car claims to do around about 30 mpg. It's quite close to that in the real world, but I've done 54 miles in it, and it's done 26.3. Several of the German rivals will give you similar performance, similar 0 to 60 times, and all that kind of good stuff, but they'll also probably give you another 10 or 15 mpg. And with fuel prices the way they are at the moment, that's something to think about. Possibly not if you can afford 50 grand on a brand new car. You know, maybe 10, 15 mpg difference is not something that you need to worry yourself about, but you need to bear that in mind if you are considering one of these cars. Infotainment system's very, very good. It's not exceptional, but it's very good. The inbuilt sat-nav's very good. You've also got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So if you don't like any of it, just plug your phone in and off you go. It's got a very large wireless phone charger here, which is a breeze. It's not one of these fussy ones where you have to get the phone in exactly the right spot. You just launch your phone into it and everything's covered. You've got the digital dash here. It's really clear, really high res, and plenty of customization available. You can get tons of information from the trip computer and what have you. You've also got a head-up display, which is really good. One other downside of this car is the rear view mirror. Now, I don't have my seat particularly high or low. I would say it's in a fairly average place. And the way the roof slopes down at the back and the position of the mirror, although you can obviously adjust the mirror, if you want to look further back than maybe 1 or 2 cars behind you, you find yourself having to sort of stoop down a bit. And that's been one of the few minor annoyances of driving this car, is that when I have wanted to drive it slightly more enthusiastically on a big open dual carriageway, I've found myself stooping down a little bit to make sure that, you know, it's still safe to do so. So you've got a dial here with different drive modes. Currently I'm in comfort, which is the default mode. So you pop it into sport, and in this one with these upgraded seats, the bolsters here, the side bolsters on the seat, actually inflate and harden up to grip you into the seat a bit more, because obviously it knows that you're going to be doing some enthusiastic driving. It's very quiet as well when you're on the motorway, on dual carriageway. It's a quiet car to drive in. Around town it's a quiet car, unless you give it the beans and then it makes some noise. You can also enhance that they can get some of that engine noise projected into the cabin through the speakers, and there are different levels of that. I know people get very animated about the subject of EVs. There are people that absolutely adore EVs, people that absolutely hate EVs and think that they're going to take over the earth and they're a terrible threat to humanity. I don't care, right? I'm completely on the fence. I hope that there's choice for as long as possible, so people that feel strongly one way or the other can have whatever they want. I'd have an EV tomorrow, but I'd also have a petrol car tomorrow or a diesel car. I'm all for what makes sense and what's a good car. I think we should start talking about cars more for the way they drive and the way they do the job they're intended to, rather than the fuel that's being used to power them, because it gets a bit dull otherwise. Would I like this car if it had an electric motor? Yes. Would I like this car if it had a petrol motor? Yes. Would I like this car if it had a diesel motor? Yes. Is it a good car? Yes. You've got a few luxuries in this car that you only expect in the really top premium luxury cars. Like, you know, you open the door and the driver's seat pops back slightly. You get in and turn it on. The steering wheel returns to its proper position. Your seat goes forward to your chosen position. You turn the car off, the steering wheel goes back, the seat pops back to make it easier for you to get it out of the car. You know, it really, really does have lots of those tiny little nice refinements. As a first taste of what Genesis can do, this thing's phenomenal. Lots of those other premium brands will be looking at this and thinking, maybe we need to up our game, because they've really beaten the Germans at their own game in a lot of respects in this car. It's not a perfect car, it's an exceptionally good car. You know, sometimes you just get into a car and everything feels like someone's really thought about it. Maybe a team of people have really thought about it. Sometimes you get into a car and it seems like that's how it is and therefore that's how it's delivered. A lot of thought has gone into this car and a lot of attention to detail. I really can't express enough just what a nice place this cabin is to sit. So as always guys, I like to sum these reviews up in the only way I know how, in quite a concise way, and it's how do I feel about this car going back. I usually spend a week with these press cars, and how do I feel about it going back in a couple of days' time. Now, what I was explaining to you here, folks, before my microphone had run out of power, unbeknownst to me, was that I'm going to need counselling when this car goes back. I've really, really adored it. I went into this quite open-minded. I was expecting the car to be well put together, but perhaps slightly unastounding, and it's completely blown that out of the water. I love this car. Please, guys, give this video a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. I'd also love it if you could follow me on social media, at NotAGuru3. On Instagram it's at NotAGuruGym, and on Facebook it's definitely Not a Guru. Thanks so much for watching guys, see you soon.